Welcome back to the Gamery. Today we're here with another case. This time the case of Jane Doe. Alright, so why don't we start with the intro and we can roll the clip. Just after 1 a.m. on April 23, 2001, a blazing fire broke out in a cabin at the Del Fuego Rehab Center. The charred body of an unidentified female was found underneath the structure. Investigators determined the fire was started intentionally in an attempt to cover up a murder. There were only 5 people on the island at the time, but police were unable to identify the killer or the victim. After several months of investigation, detectives closed the case. Who is Jane Doe? How did she get to the island? Who killed her? Okay, let's see what our first objective is.
Objective number 1, find out how Jane Doe got to the island. When you figure out how Jane Doe got to Del Fuego Island, visit this webpage to see if you are right. After completing objective number 1, you may open bonus envelope A for additional evidence and your next objective.
So we'll just have this ready, but we'll come back to that. Okay, so this must be our Jane Doe.
Okay, on the other side is a sketch artist description form.
So just to make things easier for you as a viewer, we'll have it on the screen as well.
So the description, race is unknown, age between 17 to 24, female 5'9" to 6'1", she's about 90 to 140 pounds.
That's pretty tall.
Oh, I was going to say quite a wide range of weight. Build unknown, eyes unknown, complexion unknown. Everything is unknown pretty much except for the teeth, gap between front 2 teeth. And the notes say unidentified Jane Doe, very limited information to work with. Did the best I could based on the autopsy info. Okay, evidence. So we have a magnifier, some photos here.
The body.
This is April 23rd, 2001, 9:29 a.m. Gasoline tank and a lighter. Around the same time. This is, I guess, the aftermath, the wreckage. Picture of the security guard, I'm assuming. Ari Urowitz. The CEO, Dr. Kendra Matthews. Stephen Tenenbaum, the producer of...
Producer? Was it a show?
Audrey Collins, reporter. Wendy Enders, the waitress. 6 people that are different than these other photographs. And it says Captain Hook in the background. And look, there's a cute German Shepherd.
Okay, let's look at this article by Weston Price, staff writer for the Apollonia Times. The severely burned body of an unidentified young woman was found underneath a cabin in the early morning hours today at the Del Fuego Rehab Center on Del Fuego Island. Officials have already ruled the fire as arson and believe it was an attempt to cover up a murder. The victim has been determined to be a young female between the ages of 17 and 24. Detective Kate Dickinson of the Apollonia Police Department is conducting the homicide investigation. No one is currently allowed to leave or come on to the island other than suspects, witnesses, and investigators. There were 5 people on the island at the time, 4 patients and the center's counselor, Christopher King. The patients include award-winning actress Ava B. Lawrence, former supermodel Paula May, Safety Net Inc. CEO Rob Knox, and Jack Danner, the husband of the world-renowned modeling agent Angela Bellevue. As of yet, no arrests have been made. And it says here the body was discovered under a burned building on Del Fuego Island, about 12 miles south of the Apollonia Marina. Dr. Kendra Matthews, director of the Del Fuego Rehab Center, released the following statement. I speak for the entire staff when I say that we are both deeply saddened and thoroughly devastated to learn that a young woman's body was found here on the premises of our beautiful facility. Since 1976, the Del Fuego Rehab Center has been a safe haven from the storms of life for all of our patients, a place of healing where our clients have always felt completely secure and supported. This comes as a definite shock to all of us, but it is an isolated incident, and I want to assure everyone that the safety and well-being of our patients is our utmost concern here at Del Fuego. Police are asking anyone who might know anything about the identity of this young woman to please call Detective Kate Dickinson. Aerial photo of Del Fuego Island taken in 1996. And I think there's a back. Malibu
police are searching for an 18-year-old woman who has not been seen since late January. Authorities say Kaya Martinez was last spotted around midnight on January 27th near the 2300 block of South Lee Street. Kaya is described as 5 feet 4 inches tall, 130 pounds, with brown eyes and shoulder-length black hair. She was last seen wearing a Charlotte Hornets sweatshirt and cargo pants. Anyone with information on Kaya's whereabouts is asked to contact investigators at that number. VA opens new gambling addiction treatment center in downtown Los Angeles. The Department of Veterans Affairs has opened an inpatient gambling addiction recovery center in the heart of LA. VA officials announced this month that the LA VA Residential Recovery and Renewal Center will host 30 and 45-day programs for gambling and substance abuse treatment. The facility is the second of its kind in nearly 30 years. The department's first gambling addiction center, a trailblazing treatment facility that was the first of its kind in the country for addressing compulsive gambling, opened in Sacramento in 1972. Bobby Shanahan, chief of behavioral health at the VA Southern California healthcare system, said the new facility fills a badly needed gap in our mental health continuum of care. LA County recovers from intense rain, wind, and flooding. The downtrodden Mr. Smirnoff added, "And to make matters worse, I just discovered that I've made the colossal mistake of letting my boat insurance lapse, so I guess you could say that I'm sunk. Let that be a lesson to all of your readers." 2 flooded vehicles abandoned on the 2700 block of Waterview Place in Apollonia. Damaging wind gusts of up to 70 miles per hour left over 200,000 southeastern California light and power customers without electricity. When questioned about the outage, spokesman Paul Danvers had this to say, "We're doing everything in our power to get everyone's electricity up and running by tomorrow morning. Please bear with us." The raging winds also sent an enormous oak tree smashing down into rock legend Billy Joel's tour bus, which then lit on fire. The bus was parked outside the Apollonia Music Hall, where he just finished wrapping up a concert. Apparently, nonplussed by the damage, Joel said, "I'm glad no one was hurt. Not sure if lightning or a power line started the fire, but I know we didn't." The Apollonia Public Works Department has been working nonstop since early this morning to clear the streets. They hope to have all roads back open before nightfall. That's a lot of other information.
They mentioned something about lightning. This other missing person, Kaya Martinez, Paula May Cosmetics. Wasn't she one of the people on the island?
She's one of the celebrities.
Former supermodel Paula May. So we have some addresses, some names.
Police department case closed. The date is November 23rd.
Our article was
April
23rd.
Subject, homicide investigation of Jane Doe at Del Fuego Rehab Center, Del Fuego Island, on April 23rd, 2001. Okay, number 1, facts of the case. On Monday, April 23rd, 2001, at 5:37 a.m., the Apollonia Fire Department got a call from Ari Urowitz, head of security for the Del Fuego Rehab Center, about an overnight fire in cabin number 2. The fire had already been extinguished by heavy rains. B, during their investigation, the fire department identified proof of arson and a severely burned body underneath the cabin. They immediately called us. C, the body was that of an unidentified young female between the ages of 17 to 24. D, the female victim was not a person who was supposed to be on the island. Ooh.
No, I think we already...
Oh.
That's what our first objective is, to find out how she got there.
E, there were 5 people on the island at that time. All 5 are suspects. F, we narrowed down the potential identities of Jane Doe to 5 women, all reported missing and fitting the data obtained from the body. G, we can't figure out how Jane Doe got to the island, who she is, or who killed her. Number 2, prime suspects. There's Christopher King, addiction counselor. He lied about personal drug use, had an altercation with a missing girl, who could be Jane Doe. There's Paula May, she's a food addict, attacked someone on the island for taking her photo. Jack Danner, alcoholic, violent outburst when security took alcohol he tried to smuggle in, also known to be a womanizer. Ava B. Lawrence, cocaine addict, history of destructive and narcissistic behavior. Rob Knox, gambling addict, suspect in a 1995 unsolved murder case, displayed violent behavior at the marina just prior to boarding the boat to the island. Conclusion, the identity of Jane Doe was never discovered and we were unable to link her to any of the suspects. The victim's information was uploaded to the National Jane Doe database. No conclusive evidence was found to make a conviction or press charges. Closed case until additional information comes to light. Next is the fire department investigation report.
On Monday, April 23rd, 2001, 5:37 a.m., we received a call from Ari Urowitz, head of security for Del Fuego Rehab Center, informing us of an overnight fire in one of their cabins on Del Fuego Island. Mr. Urowitz learned of the incident at 1:07 a.m. when Del Fuego Rehab Center counselor Christopher King contacted him by phone. Urowitz ascertained the fire was no longer active as it had been extinguished by the rain. Since all individuals were unharmed and accounted for, there wasn't a need for us to investigate until daybreak for routine inspection and documentation. At that point, it was theorized lightning from the storm may have ignited the fire.
So the first point, it says that on Monday, April 23rd, 5:37 a.m., they received a call. But then he learned of the incident at 1:07 a.m.
Yeah, that's a long
time.
Gap. Christopher King contacted him, so Christopher King knew about it first. I'll say he calls Ari.
Sure. Okay.
And then possibly that's about fire.
The head of security, which is Ari Urowitz, calls the fire department at 5:37, but he wasn't on the island.
So Chris calls from the island, and then there's this huge gap before Ari calls the fire department. So then there was rain that night, and then they think there was lightning that could have started the fire. But they said they found evidence that it was arson. So let's see what this document says. I, along with Lieutenant Stephen McCaffrey, arrived at the island shortly after 8:15 that morning. Upon initially viewing what remained of the structure, we concluded that approximately 90% of it had been destroyed. We detected the distinct smell of gasoline permeating the structure right away. While searching for the source of the fire, we uncovered a body burned beyond recognition in what remained of the crawl space underneath the structure. Immediately upon making the discovery, we called the police department at 824. The heat signature, along with the evidence, clearly showed the majority of the gasoline was poured on or near the body, and that is where the fire originated. We found both a gas can and a Zippo lighter near the body, validating our certainty that the fire was set on purpose. The lighter belongs to Christopher King, an employee at the facility. The gas can belongs to the facility maintenance team. Oh, because then we can maybe see who had access to that. Several witnesses confirmed Mr. King used both the lighter and the gasoline can earlier that evening to start a fire and left both items at the fire pit, where all 5 of the people on the island had access to them. Okay. Conclusions. The fire was intentionally started with gasoline and a lighter, both found on the scene. The fire originated in the area beneath the cabin where the body was found, as opposed to inside the cabin or from a lightning strike. We strongly suspect the body was doused in gasoline before the fire started. We suspect the victim was dead or unconscious before the fire started, and the fire was a feeble attempt to hide the evidence. The lighter and gas can were so badly burned in the fire that any remaining forensic evidence like fingerprints or material fibers were destroyed. Alright, what is next?
Autopsy report. Near skeletal condition of the remains with extensive burns and charring throughout the victim's body. Crushed sternum. Body burned and charred beyond recognition. Internal injuries. We believe the crushed sternum and the broken ribs ruptured the aorta and collapsed the lungs. Manner of death. A crushing blow to the sternum resulted in multiple internal injuries and near sudden death. Cause of death. Extensive internal injuries. Victim most likely suffocated due to internal bleeding and collapsed lungs. Identifying information. Even with a complete skeleton, this was all we could determine due to the fire damage. Narrative. The corpse body was extensively burned, charred, and disintegrated, leaving it in an unrecognizable skeletal-like condition. Our investigation concludes that the victim was killed by a direct crushing blow to the sternum, resulting in several broken ribs and both a severe rupture to the aorta and the collapse of both lungs, leading to a cardiogenic shock. This blow to the sternum occurred sometime in a 2-hour window prior to the body being burned in the fire. We were unable to determine anything about the attacker from the injuries due to the extensive fire damage, although the blow appears to have required great force. Jane Doe likely stopped breathing immediately after the impact and lost consciousness within 20 to 30 seconds. Within 2 minutes, all neurological activity would have shut down.
Okay, so a possible 2-hour window, right?
11 p.m. to 1 a.m.
So Chris calls at 1. Around 11 o'clock is when she might have been attacked.
Yeah. I mean, it could have been, started way earlier than 1 a.m., but at least we have some type of estimate. Another point, too, was that the blow required great force. So someone that has a lot of strength.
Okay, what's next?
Okay, next is the rehab pamphlet.
Our esteemed director, Dr. Kendra Matthews, message for new guests. You come to us as strangers on the most difficult journey of your lives, but you leave as family with maps in hand to fully direct you to continue down the road to recovery. Place your full trust in us, as we've never dealt with an addiction that we could not successfully help someone to overcome. Along with being a rehab facility, we also provide our clientele with the type of surroundings only found in a resort destination, where the island breeze soothes the spirit and the chef's cuisine delights the taste buds. Accommodations. Each guest stays in their own rustic island cabin, providing a personal safe haven from the storms of life, while the common areas and activities ignite a strong sense of fellowship.
Safe haven from the storms of life. We know there's been recent storms. Activities ignite a strong sense of fellowship. And then there's a picture down here of a bonfire, which is what they did.
Serving leaders of society and the entertainment industry. Nestled on the plush private confines of Del Fuego Island, just 12 miles off the California coast, the Del Fuego Rehab Center is an oasis of help and healing, where our award-winning staff nurtures minds, bodies, and spirits through both traditional and holistic approaches. Through intense one-on-one sessions, as well as supportive group therapy, we treat each individual's specific, unique needs. We have some schematics for a yacht.
That actually reminds me of the picture. This one.
Ah, yeah. Captain Hooked Specs.
So this is the boat in the picture. Has a distinctive profile, exquisite comfort and style, remarkable fuel capacity, designed for entertaining as well as for the helmsman comfort. The fly bridge offers a large dinette, lounge, seating for 8, and a wet bar. Large sliding glass doors lead from the cockpit to the luxurious cabin, where frameless windows enhance light and visibility. The companionway and door lead from pilot house to bridge. 3 different gallery plans offer a choice of more countertop area, extra cabinets, or additional entertainment space, plus the standard 3-burner stove with oven, built-in convection microwave oven, sub-zero refrigerator with separate freezer, and solid surface countertops. Optional European cruise quarters can include a single bunk, sink, head, and storage. And there's additional specs and equipment information here.
You know what I'm thinking right away? How our Jane Doe could have stowed away on here somehow.
Yeah.
And we'll probably have to pay attention to the weight or where she could have hid or something. I don't know. Because this European cruise quarters, it's a extra space or something. Okay. What's next?
Next is the U.S. Law Enforcement Missing Persons Database search. They filtered date of birth with the month and date the same. So assuming the age range that they're guessing the Jane Doe is. And there are 5 results. All have gaps in their teeth.
Yeah, because the search for front tooth gap. Is any of these the one in the newspaper?
No, it was Kaya. There's only 2 that were in Apollonia. So there's Maria, and then there's Kim Rose's son. But then Maria Gonsalves was last seen on April 20th, 2001. That's really close to the incident. Whereas the other one is last seen in 1995. So it might be Maria. Oh, we solved it! Okay, missing persons report.
So the first one is the first one there, Jasmine Barstow. Suspicious circumstances. Height 5'11", 140.
Last known location and activity was Venice Beach bonfire, and then the possible destination is boating with dark-haired male.
Beach volleyball, sailing, windsurfing, spending time with friends.
Broken nose from a nasty volleyball spike.
They would have identified this broken nose.
Yeah. My daughter was last seen on the night of June 16th. She was at a bonfire with some of her friends down at Venice Beach. It was one of Jazzy's favorite things to do. One of her friends told me they saw her talking to a dark-haired man further down the beach for a while, and when she came back to the bonfire, she told him she was going out on his boat and not to wait for her. I'm having a really hard time wrapping my head around that. That's the last I know of anyone seeing her. Please do everything you can to help find my baby. Okay, next, Maria Gonsalves.
White polo shirt with the Del Fuego Rehab Center.
Embroidered on it. Black skirt, white keds.
Why? Why did she have that on?
Ooh, medical conditions, colorblind and asthmatic.
What does it say right here? Something right hand?
I think it's scar.
You wouldn't be able to see that. Oh, distinguishing features. Dented in... Oh, that's a car.
Oh, car. On April 20th, 2001, Maria was fired from her job as a housekeeper. Oh, at the Del Fuego Rehab Center. On April 23rd, 2001, her mother filed a missing persons report. Hadn't answered phone all weekend. Missed sister's birthday party. Mother checked on her April 23rd. No one answered the door, but her car was home. Anyway.
Okay, next.
Louisa May Lanahan, fight with parents over being grounded. Parents came home from a party to find she'd packed. Left a note saying she was stifled and leaving home to pursue an acting career.
5'9", 112, 17, last wearing black leggings, oversized Blink-182 shirt, gray sweat socks.
Last seen in Jersey City in 1998.
Gymnastics, acting, anything Hollywood related. Identifying characteristics, space between 2 front teeth, asthma, double jointed. Would you be able to tell that? Lost pinky toe? You would tell that.
You would.
Okay, so definitely not her.
So this person also has asthma and wears contact lenses.
All right, next, Emma Lynn Simpson. Large gap, appendectomy scar, wears contact lenses.
She also has asthma. Last seen, City Warrens. Last seen wearing a faded jean jacket with embroidered pink roses, leggings, white Lifehouse t-shirt, pink sneakers.
Modeling, photography, music, helping out. Piano. Doesn't have a car. She wanted to go into modeling in a big city like LA or New York. Her dad and I were against it because those places are full of questionable people. She was really mad at us about it too. It broke our hearts, so we saved up and bought us a trip to LA for a few weeks so she could pursue her dream. Only problem was we were holding out to tell her about it on her birthday tomorrow, but she left not knowing, and we think she left because she thought we were holding her back. My heart's in a million pieces. So most of them want to be actresses, so maybe that's how they got lured, or some of them.
3 of them have asthma.
All right, last one. Kim Rose's son.
Oh, she has a detached toenail. Oh, I guess you would. No, you would have.
I think that would get burned. Yeah.
Big toe left foot.
What is detached toenail?
Probably just missing. Car left at marina.
Photography, designing her own clothes, has mild asthma.
Why is that a common thing? Let me look at the first one again to see if they have. Oh, she does have asthma.
All have asthma.
Please help, we are so worried. My daughter Kim is missing, and the last place she went to was the Apollonia Marina to take pictures of the sailboats. She can't swim. I should have never let her go alone. She was supposed to be back for brunch at 11, but never came home. This isn't like her. Her car is still down there, and I'm so afraid she might have fallen in the water. Please help us find our daughter.
So one thing I remember, I don't know if I remember, was the model or the actress who got mad because someone took a picture of them, and then she's a photographer. Right here, Paula May, food addict, attacks someone on the island for taking her photo.
So there's son Kim, or Kim's son, and then there's the Maria. But then the reason why I was thinking it's not Kim's son was because that was in 1995. And Maria was missing in 2000, just 3 days before the fire. And Maria was the one with the jacket with the rehab center.
But she has connections there because she worked there and then got fired. So first, because of the pinky toe, lost pinky toe, I think we can rule out this one, Louisa. What about Emma? Oh, she also loves photography.
Her parents last seen her, right? But she was in a different state. She wasn't not in California.
All right, maybe we'll get some more information from the rest of the documents.
Person of interest?
Yes, or suspects. First is Christopher King, who is the counselor. So he called the head of security about the fire. Person of interest, Christopher Aiden King. Prior arrest, domestic abuse. Charges dropped.
He was divorced.
Occupation, addiction counselor. 5 years and 10 months at Sally Jesse Donahue show.
Oh.
Okay, drives Yukon. Last night I decided not to go back to my cabin and instead went over to the main house to go over the new patient's files. I really like to know as much as I can about them before we get into my intense sessions. I was there until I heard a commotion on the other side of the island. I hurried back to find my cabin engulfed in flames. Oh, it was his cabin. Paula even risked her life to try and save me. After the fire went out, everyone was way too amped to sleep, so I figured it was the perfect opportunity to gather together for an intense all-night group session back at the main house. I think we made some incredible progress. Before we knew it, Ari and the fire department arrived. I don't know what to say about the dead body, but I had absolutely nothing to do with it. This whole thing is a lot to process. Watching the cabin burn to the ground along with my entire collection of rhyming motivational one-liners was really distressing. I was in talks with a publisher and I'll have to start over. Not sure I even have the heart to start.
He's really worried about this one-liner thing, not about who this dead body was.
I thought they were at a bonfire and he brought a lighter and a can of gas. He says he was in the main cabin until he heard a commotion on the other side. So I guess this campfire was like a lot earlier. All right, witness statement, Dr. Kendra Matthews.
First, I want to say that I speak for all of the staff here at the Del Fuego Rehab Center when I say we are deeply saddened by this tragic event. We will cooperate 100% with anything you need. I've been the CEO and physician in charge at the Del Fuego Rehab Center for the past 7 months, and for the past 5 years, Christopher King has worked for us as an addiction counselor. Christopher fills everyone with hope, almost from the moment they step foot into the island. He knows how important that is to their journey since he was once in their shoes. He also knows firsthand what a difficult path they are embarking on and works tirelessly to clear the road of any obstacles that might cause them to stumble and fall. Granted, some of his methods might be a little unorthodox, for example, death therapy. However, we fully embrace a holistic approach to healing and have found his methods to be highly effective. I should also add that he's a very well-respected TV counselor on the Sally Jesse Donahue show and has helped countless people through his efforts. There's even something in the works about giving him his own show. I believe the working title is Putting Out the Fires of Addiction with Christopher King. For the most part, Christopher's record here has been exemplary. Before I took over, there were a few minor incidences where he snuck girlfriends out to the island. We have a very strict policy against allowing anyone on the island who isn't a patient or staff member. That rule wasn't exactly enforced by my predecessor, but after I came on board and hired Ari Eurowitz, the problem was solved. Between Ari and his dog Scout,
it's his dog.
the German Shepherd. We've got the best security money can buy. Scout is truly amazing. I remember the first day he came to Del Fuego. He stepped one paw onto the island and immediately his ears perked up and he darted off into the bushes. It turned out one of Christopher's girlfriends was hiding somewhere on the other side of the island. It's a good thing Ari chased after him because Scout nearly ripped her arm off before Ari got there to make him release. Now all of the staff are well aware that if they're caught harboring guests, they will be fired, not to mention the possibility of their guests also getting mauled to death. We've had no problems in that regard since. Every evening before he takes the captain hooked back to the island, Ari and Scout conduct a complete inspection of the island. Christopher calls it the Ari Safari. If there was anyone on the island before they left, dead or alive, Scott would have found them.
The security, I guess Ari doesn't stay. I mean, it's not that far, right?
You were right earlier when you said the sailboat has room to hide a body, so I'm sure one of his girlfriends just went in and out through the sailboat while Ari did his inspection.
Maybe Chris has a deal with Ari. Well, the thing I'm wondering is about the dog, Scout, because the dog would have identified anyone who was stowed away. Okay, interview with Christopher A. King.
Please state your full name for the record.
Christopher Aiden King.
And you're the addiction counselor here, right? For how long?
Yes, that's right. I've been a counselor here for 5 years.
Are you famous? Feel like I've seen you before. Are you an actor too?
Not an actor, but I am famous. I'm a regular on the Sally Jesse Donahue show.
Yeah, that's where they're always throwing chairs, right? You're also a former addict?
Yes, to being a former addict. It helps me, relate to the patients.
That must be a great asset. I suppose otherwise it'd be like the blind leading the blind. If the counselor didn't practice what he preached.
Right.
If a drug counselor got caught using, he'd lose his license, right?
Right again.
Makes sense. How long have you been clean?
Going on 9 years now.
Good for you. I understand a few days ago, a staff member reported seeing you take drugs from the holding cabinet where stuff sometimes smuggled in by the patients is stored.
Yes, that was her story. One of our housekeepers, Maria, never trusted her. I actually caught her rifling through that cabinet, and she fabricated the story about me taking drugs instead of her. They didn't take her accusations seriously as they checked her purse and found a bunch of Percocets. Accusing me was a sad attempt at saving herself.
Any idea where she is now?
None. She was fired.
And apparently also missing. No one's seen her in days.
Maybe she's strung out somewhere. Who knows?
So, I heard Scout hates you.
What on earth does that have to do with anything? It's not me. That dog is a menace. Bit me on 3 separate occasions right in the butt. And each time, all Ari did was laugh and tell Scout he's a good boy.
Christopher, where were you last night between 10:30 and 1 a.m.? People thought you were still in your cabin. Paula May even busted down the door to save you.
Yes, that was really big of her, and I thanked her profusely. I was up at the main building going over the new patient's files one more time.
That's very dedicated of you. It's odd, though, because when you finally showed up, you were seen coming from the other direction.
Okay, so I lied about that. I wasn't studying patient files. I was over on the other side of the island.
Doing what?
Relaxing. Writing some poetry, if you must know. There's a cave over there, and it's quite peaceful. You can't imagine the pressures of this job.
Are they enough to start using again?
No, of course not.
Then why did we find a bag of marijuana and pills right next to a poem that appears to be written by you? Recognize this? Are you the Fire King, Christopher?
It's my work, yes, but the drugs aren't mine. I just found them on the grounds and had to make sure they didn't fall into the wrong hands. That's part of my job, you know.
I'm going to have you take a drug test. It's just a formality so we can confirm your story.
That's absurd. I'm an addiction counselor, a famous addiction counselor.
Look, you can either take it willingly or a judge will make you take it.
What? Look, there's absolutely no reason to do that.
Or you could just tell me the truth.
Okay. I occasionally smoke some weed. No big deal. It helps me relax. And the pills were for a recent back injury I aggravated at the dock.
The pills weren't prescribed to you.
What's with all these questions? I'm an addiction therapist. I'm on TV. What do you want from me?
The truth. As in, what were you really doing last night?
I was at the cave and stayed there until I heard the commotion.
How did your cabin burn down?
Because it was on fire?
Don't get cute with me. I heard you're a genius at starting bonfires on damp nights.
So,
I think you set the fire. You're the Fire King.
That's nuts. The lighter and gas were at the fire pit for anyone to grab.
Were you in love with Maria?
That's preposterous. No.
Was she blackmailing you?
No. For what? She was on pills. You can't trust her. As an addiction expert, I can tell you...
Let me stop you right there, Mr. King. It's you I don't trust. You clearly just admitted to using and lying about it, so I'm not really interested in your professional assessments.
Well, I just think...
Want to know what I think, Mr. King? I think you burned down your own cabin with her underneath, and I'm going to figure out why.
You're crazy. There's nothing to figure out here.
Why did you persuade Ari not to call authorities till morning?
What? That was his idea. The fire was out. Everyone was safe.
Not the girl under the cabin. She wasn't safe, Chris. And if turns out to be Maria, you're going to have a lot more to worry about than just losing your counselor's license.
Okay. A lot to unpack here, huh?
Well, we know that he lies. He's doing drugs. There's a commotion with Maria. So there was some type of interaction.
So next is the poem that was found. I am the Fire King. Burning ember from the past gave me warmth, but left too fast. I long to feel that heat again. In those flames eternity spin. That is what this soul desires, to roast in such delightful fires, once more, for always, until the end, to be in love and not pretend. The charred remains of hearts gone cold conceals my longing for things untold. But when I meet you, sparks ignited. So many wrongs in life were righted. You fueled my fire, sent it blazing. For you, to me, were just amazing. But swiftly things went up in smoke when I caught you with that other bloke. It had to end with scorching flares. For consequence, I have no cares. You're dead to me, true love smothered. You are, in fact, just like my mother. What's that supposed to mean? I know that last time we played, we just went in the order that was here, but I want to hear from the security guard. So Ari Urowitz, the head of security. I'm the head of security for the Del Fuego Rehab Center, and I, along with my trusty sidekick Scout, keep the island safe from outsiders and protect the patients from both themselves and each other. I also drive our boat, the Captain Hooked, bringing employees and patients to and from the island each day. Scout, my highly trained security dog, is my first mate. This morning at 1:07 a.m., I got a call from our counselor, Chris King. He reported there had been a fire in his cabin. He thought it was caused by lightning and said the place went up freakishly quick and burned to a crisp. Luckily, the heavy rain put it out. After learning everyone was safe and accounted for, I decided to wait until daybreak to call in the authorities for a routine inspection. I arrived to the island at the same time as the fire department. Things got real very quickly. First they found a lighter and gas can, proving it was arson. Then they found a body under the rubble. For the record, Scout and I conducted an extensive security check yesterday evening before we left for the mainland. We walked the whole island to make sure no one was lurking around. It's our nightly routine, and King even started calling it the RA Safari. He thinks he's Johnny Cochran with all his rhymes. And now that stupid phrase has caught on with the staff. Maybe I should train Scout to relieve himself inside King's secret cave he thinks no one knows about as a token of my gratitude. Anyways, if there was another person, living or dead, on Del Fuego Island when we left at dusk, Scout would have been all over them. Only the counselor and the 4 guests were there. I bet my mother's life on it. But with this cast of characters, I'm not surprised all hell broke loose. Rest assured, one of them is guilty. I don't know who, but here's what I can tell you. Just after we stepped onto the island's dock yesterday, I found a motherload of liquor in Jack Danner's suitcase. I'm talking enough booze to get Rhode Island drunk. How clueless could this dude be? It's not like this is a rehab center or anything. Told him nicely this wasn't a cruise and started removing bottles. That moron went ballistic. He shoved me up against a pylon, then started screaming and swearing in my face. Among the many assorted, colorful, and creative expletives, he said, "Put it back, or I'll mess you up so bad your own mother won't even recognize you." Dude had no business mentioning my mother, and he was getting unruly, so I had to put him into a mounted choke position. King tried to intervene, but got pushed into the water somehow and started screaming like a sopranic schoolgirl that he herniated a disc. What do you even do with a guy like that? After that episode, I chatted with Mr. Danner and impressed upon him how much nicer it'd be in his cabin with no booze than in a jail cell with a guy named Bruce. He agreed to let me take the stash, and I agreed to release him. No doubt Jack Danner is an imbecile of epic proportions, but I can't tell you if he's a murderer. I can tell you that I spent over 10 years in Shayet at 13 and studied Krav Maga for over 20. And if this dude could shove me up against a post like that, I'm sure he'd have no trouble overpowering an average person. As for Rob Knox, back at the Apollo Marina, a reporter asked him some questions, and I saw him grab her wrist like he wanted to rip it off. I was about to intervene when she took off. I gave him the eye, and trust me, he knew what it meant. Paula May? Just wow. She may have been a great model, but there's something seriously up with her. Getting her to pose for a picture in front of the boat felt like trying to get an angry walrus on a surfboard. The whole boat ride, she just glowered at us. Later in the dining room, she freaked out on a waitress, then cornered me, demanding to know the island was paparazzi free. It was, but even still, that woman needs to chill big time. So a waitress took the photo. Then there's Miss Ava Lawrence. Never met a chick so stuck up, and I live in California. Acts like she's got no business being here. Hello, you're a drug addict. Anyway, there's one thing I gave her credit for. Chris King was getting a bit too friendly with her during the group photo, so just after the flash snap, she steps on his toe, pretends to lose her balance, and knees him hard right where it counts. Dude walked funny for an hour. She pretended it was an accident and acted sorry, but I've been around martial arts long enough to tell when someone knows what they're doing. A couple days ago, Mr. King was accused of taking pills from the drug cabinet by Maria, one of our housekeepers. After she came to me, King claimed he actually caught her stealing the pills. I checked her bag, and lo and behold, there was a full bottle of Percocets in there. The situation felt weird to me though, because Maria doesn't seem like the type. She's one of those vegans, and quite frankly, I've never trusted King. Major reason being that my dog despises that dude. That being said, Scout worshipped the ground Maria walked on. When Scout wasn't on duty, he followed her everywhere, like he was her personal protection unit. I hope this information helps you get to the bottom of this case. As the head of security here, I will do everything in my power to help facilitate your investigation. So that kind of made me think one reason why Scout wouldn't go crazy is if Scout knew the person, and if the Jane Doe is Maria.
But how would she have snuck away from Scout? Because he was saying that Scout followed her everywhere.
That's true.
And then it was the waitress Maria who took the photo. Wait, but what's the waitress? Who's the waitress?
Maria? Oh, she was a housekeeper, not a waitress. Mm-hmm. Should we just go back and check if we have enough info to solve Objective 1? So how did Jane Doe get to the island? Prove how Jane Doe got to Del Fuego Island to move on to the next part of the case. She was smuggled inside. She hid. She was already on the island.
She jumped from a plane with a parachute.
Okay, so either she hid or she was already on the island. I don't want to just guess.
Okay, then maybe we should read more.
All right, well, looks like we're going to try to get a little more information before we just blindly guess this. But that will be it for this video. So next one, we'll go through some more information before we try to solve this first objective. If you like our content, don't forget to give us a like, subscribe to our channel, and we hope to see you again in the game ring.